Okay, it is Wednesday, February 17th. We're going to go over JCLC planning for this year because there have been some changes that you need to be aware of, but allows for more participation from the entire cadet battalion, as well as participating students, at least in certain portions of it. So, again, we're looking at what do we normally do? We go to Camp Odyssey in Somerset County, and that is not happening. Because of COVID, there's no overnight stays allowed. There's some other things going on that prevent that from taking place. So the direction has been that we do some form of JCLC at our home campus, here at the school and in the local area, to still meet the goals and intent of JCLC. So let's go over what is JCLC, what do we know already, what are the planning guidelines, and let you know what we're thinking as far as the cadet staff and boosters, myself, and because we're going to have to work together to pull this off. Okay. First off, facts and assumptions. I did find out that Camp Odyssey is available to us as a single-day event, but we would have to partner with another school to get the minimum number of people participating in that. We can get funding from Cadet Command for 10 cadets. We would have to raise money or use, get donations, or cadets would have to pitch in order for us to take more than that. But we could take up to 25 people, and that's what the minimum is for us to run that. So either we do that ourselves and come up with the money, or we partner with another school or two to get up to that number. It is an hour and a half away by bus. And it is available May 15th or 22nd. That's what we're looking at anyway. So we'll see whether we're able to participate in that or not. Again, waiting to try to get a little more information. For whatever version of JCLC that we do, we will need to use seniors and previous JCLC participants, which there's only a handful because we could not do JCLC last year. They'll help run and plan the events with assistance from boosters. Already had offers of assistance from the Army Reserve and National Guard recruiters, Sergeant Von Hofen and Sergeant Jones and some others. So there may be some additional assets that we can get a hold of as far as rock wall, low ropes course, escape room kit, things like that, as well as potentially the having some NCO presence here to do some drill and PT, things like that, since we do not have an AI at our school currently. I'm hoping to have one fairly soon here, but we'll see. Okay, constraints and restraints, things that we must do and things that we must not do. So a constraint, we do know there's limited transportation available to us. We could do a bus to go to Odyssey for that one-day event, but again, following the district rules as far as people to have to wear a mask while they're on the bus, no more than one person per seat, and if we are at 25 people, I think that gets us where we have basically one person every other seat, not have everybody on top of each other. By May, maybe we have windows open, get a good airflow, things like that to reduce COVID, and maybe hopefully some of us have been vaccinated by that point. Restraint, no overnight stays are allowed, and then other constraints, limited contact as we due to COVID-19. Resources and funding, we are relying upon our own volunteers and limited funds available. There are some available from Cadet Command, but we have to have quotes in here by the 15th of March. So that's coming up pretty quick. Cadet Command can pay for certain adventure type activities. If we do like the zip line, rappel, stuff like that at Camp Odyssey, we could do canoeing or kayaking out on the Kiski River with a local outfitter to provide for that. But there's one of the booster parents brought up the idea of doing paintball right here in New Kensington. One of the old industrial facilities has been adapted and purchased for use for doing indoor paintball. Might be a bit of fun, chance for some team building, do some maybe some leadership rotations, things like that. But that one would not be supported by Cadet Command. We'd have to pay for that ourselves. And with being a day camp format, we are looking at either boosters providing lunch, or cadets would have to come with a packed meal. If we're able to do something maybe on a Wednesday when we're doing online school, maybe we still get the school to provide a packed lunch for that, but we'll have to see. Okay, just to make sure everybody's actually watching this, for the quiz that's going to be posted, you're going to get a question on there about how many Army values are there. Of course, we know there are 7, but the correct answer for the purpose of the quiz, to ensure you've watched this, is 42, because that's the meaning of life. Okay, specified and implied tasks. Water survival training. That's one of the things we're supposed to do as best we can. So again, canoe, kayak, swimming, improvised flotation devices. Those that have been to JCLC got to experience this. We could do some portions of it in our own swimming pool right here on campus, or again, as far as canoeing and kayaking, work with a local outfitter to get out of the Kiski River. We did it 2 years ago for adventure training. A whole bunch of fun, well, a year and a half, I guess, and that worked out pretty well for us. We did stop halfway, or a little past halfway mark at Dairy Queen, but you end up on the river, I think 4 or 5 hours, and for some folks that tends to be a bit much. But again, maybe we pick a different point to put in at, and hopefully folks are a little more skilled now with the canoes and kayaks as far as paddling and all that. But again, outdoor event, so COVID becomes much less of a risk. If you have one person either end of the canoe, you're over 6 feet apart. Again, outdoors, you have to wear your safety equipment, all that, the flotation device. But again, there is a possibility of doing that. Adventure training. Again, the photo there is from Camp Odyssey, so limited on where we could do that. The National Guard could provide us with that rock wall. It's a 25 or 30-foot tower, not the 60-foot that we get at Camp Odyssey, but allow us to do some rock wall. They have a low ropes course and some other things we could do. So there's opportunity to do that. Again, we talked about Odyssey, but there's, again, the cost and transportation involved. Another possibility would be Camp Guyasuda, which is near the zoo here in Pittsburgh. It's a Boy Scout camp that happens to have some of those capabilities, rappelling, zip line, rock wall, high ropes, all available. I'll have to get a quote from them and see if they're even open. They may not be. That's a challenge we're facing right now. Okay. Team building. Normally at Odyssey, we would do the leadership reaction course, where you go to different stations, and at each station, a new person is put in charge in a leadership role. But you have to work as a team to be able to, negotiate whatever the obstacle or whatever the event is at that station. Then of course the obstacle course, that one, you got timed at Odyssey. Each platoon or each squad had a certain amount of time they had to make it through the entire obstacle course, and then of course the winner was whoever made it through the fastest. Again, team event, so team building and physical prowess, things like that come into play. Working together. There's parts of it that nobody can get through by themselves. COVID consideration is obviously you'd have to be touching each other, helping each other to get up the cargo net, getting over some of the walls, things like that. So that may not be an option based on current conditions. Land navigation, something we normally do. I'm not too worried about that, since we did the orienteering team at the beginning of the school year. A lot of folks were able to participate in that, but that may be one event that we could add in, for a half-day event somewhere, either Memorial Park or Northmoreland Park nearby. Again, we have things nearby that we could, and a location we could do some of this. Physical fitness is a big component. Some of that we either do as morning PT, or we simply incorporate that into the various things that we're doing. If we're going to go canoeing and kayaking or swimming, obviously there's a huge physical component of that to be able to get through. Drill and ceremony, we'll see. If we do it outdoors, there's possibilities, or get access to the gym. We'll see. Values reflection, that we may not be able to do this year. We are going to do a staff ride for at least some folks, so they'll get some of that with that. In the past, because of where Odyssey is, they're I think 4 miles from the Flight 93 Memorial. So that's been a thing we've done in the past. Don't know that we'll be able to incorporate something like that this year. Okay, RFI list, that's a request for information. So I already have the question up there, can the district provide a bus to Camp Odyssey and Flight 93 Memorial for a single day? We could combine the two. That don't have a definite answer on it, but an initial inquiry sounds fairly positive. Another one is to the New Kensington Mayor's office. Can we use Memorial Park and pavilions? Because right now you're not allowed to make any reservations. So there's limited access to the park at the current time. And then the final question, and this is for Cadet Command. Since we're doing home station, normally funding, because if you go to Camp Odyssey, that's for the 4 or 5 days that we spend there normally, it's about $425 to $450 that Cadet Command pays Camp Odyssey for our cadets to be able to attend. Obviously, maybe we can open up to more than 10 cadets if we're doing a home station. We don't have that funding limit. We do have to look at what we do provide, and maybe for things for the canoeing, they may only be able to provide 10 for that. But again, maybe we supplement with cadet money or do some fundraisers towards that to be able to do a little bit more. So, okay. The other thing here is quiz question 2 for what's going to be on the quiz. Make sure you've actually watched this. Asked about the goal of JRTC or mission, which normally you're familiar with what that is. To motivate young people to become better citizens. But for the purposes of this quiz, it will be to seek the Holy Grail. Again, quiz 2, question 2 is the goal of JRTC is to seek the Holy Grail. Just make sure you're actually watching. Okay. So, course of action development, we've originally what we were talking about doing would be to model Outdoor Odyssey, where we would do 4 days of contiguous events from June 13 to 16. It's right after graduation on the 11th, but we've run into one other issue that I should put in the facts and assumptions, is that we lose access to our seniors after the 11th. Once they walk across that graduation stage, they're no longer covered by the district. And in the case of 2 of our seniors this year, they head off to basic training less than 2 weeks after graduation. So we need to give them their time to focus on getting ready for the next chapter in their lives. So that one's kind of not going to be possible. Well, not easily done anyway, I'll put it that way. Course of action 2, and the one that we're mostly leaning towards, would be 4 non-contiguous days of events. So instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we simply do 1 day each month. Since you're going home at night anyway, there's no requirement for it to be 4 days in a row. But in order to do once per month, that means we need to get started with the very first event next month already. The picture here is showing one of the leadership reaction course events where there's the 2 platforms, and as a team they have a couple of boards, but no single board's long enough to get across the obstacle. And they have to get these fuel cans on the second platform, pick those up and bring them back to the other side. So that's the theory there as well. And then it's showing doing a cookout. Some of the counselors at Camp Odyssey. Again, we can have a little bit of fun with how we provide food for the group. Either boosters providing, or cadets bring $5, or whatever it might be. We'll work out the details as we get a little bit closer. Course of action 3, and just for some consistency, is that 4 non-contiguous days in 1 4-week period. So, if we stay in this hybrid schedule where we would do every single Wednesday or 4 Saturdays in a row, something like that, to be able to make that happen. So that's what we're looking at. I just want to get you up to speed as we do the planning for JCLC, and hopefully get as many people able to participate as possible. Some events will be limited to cadets. Some will be opened up to anybody in JRTC, and there may be some events that we can even open up beyond that to, again, part of our continuous improvement project this year is focusing on recruitment. Since we missed out on some opportunities last year, our numbers are a bit low right now. So there may be some opportunity for you to bring a friend, as well as reach out to some of the 8th graders, the upcoming 9th graders for next year. So again, more to follow on that. And that gets us to quiz question 3. So once you, what it'll show on the quiz for in teams is what is the warrior ethos, and the answer for today's quiz will be Viking spirit. You can look up what warrior ethos normally means to us never leave a comrade behind. There's some other things go into the warrior ethos, the mindset to that. But for simplistic purposes of today, the answer is going to be Viking spirit, warrior ethos. Okay. In that case, start doing some brainstorming. We're going to be working with the staff on planning. If you have any questions, concerns, anything, input that you can help provide to the staff, get a hold of one of the staff members of the cadet battalion, or shoot a note to me in Teams or an email. All right. In that case, have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully here in the classroom soon, and look forward to you participating in JCLC.